And on behalf of the Multicultural Activities Committee, I like to call them the Mighty Mac, I am excited and we're excited to exclaim, yay, even at 8:30 in the morning. We're glad you're here and we welcome you. Welcome. I am excited to welcome you here because we know that the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. continues to compel us to migrate still to this place and space. I am excited because we know that we dream not just for ourselves, but for each other, students, friends, colleagues, mother, father, sisters, and brothers, indeed the whole wide world. I am excited. We are excited because we know that we get to witness pieces of academic dreams be fulfilled. I am excited, we are excited that we will hear stories of love, sacrifice, and mortal and divine will. So before Ms. Cherie White steps forward to express more regarding this august occasion, I want to offer a universal homage to the sometimes energized, sometimes weary, oft self-sacrificing souls in this room who've arrived here down through lineages, through circumstances that have come from any and every nation to our great celebration. This year, 2019, we are the beautiful dream surrounded by green. Some even wearing the life-sustaining green, wrapped in varying hues of cream, blush, beige, and all shades of brown and ebony. So, listen, all ye people who are from people who've come from earth and bone, who have worn sackcloth and ashes, ye and they who are full of blood and salted water that stream from the most convenient orifices. Lest ye think that the struggle is yours alone, look around at the flesh that surrounds and know that we struggle together. For some among you will lead, and some will be led, as our ancestors were, along the Ivory Coast, in Jewish ghettos, in Roman prisons, in labor camps, internment camps, death camps, in the dens of lions, or lying with the enemy. We that struggle and live and die and rise again. Today, I think of a people who were in a great struggle, a great fight to stay free, and then to stay alive, and then to win a war, and then to survive the faux freedom inflicted by another people who struggled with the fear of the newly falsely freed, tied them to trees, brought to their knees for an eternity, until the God who saw the weeping and gnashing mixed up a recipe for a man who sought to free another man and woman, a man who knew that he was not greater than the son of he who made him. But through him, he, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., sought to alter the struggle of those whose spirits were distended from the malnourishment of a diet lacking in justice, replete in exclusion and isolation from the dream of all those who struggle to achieve. And lest ye flesh-weary souls, sick with the rejoicing of the victory, forget the captivation, humiliation, emancipation, no 40 acres, just an observation, segregation, degradation, King's motivation, some integration, lyrical, spherical, academic, vocational amalgamation, lest ye forget. Forgetting creates a monster which is blind in its strike, unbiased in its venomous bite, despises the yellow, brown, black, and white, cloaks in the tapestry of intemperate thought and speech. For all in the struggle, learn from the struggle of all, lest you struggle in vain. Again, we welcome you, We are honored and humbled by your presence.
Good morning. Why and how do I follow that? Welcome to PCC's 7th annual MLK Tribute Breakfast, sponsored by our very own Multicultural Activities Committee. This event was created to provide a collaborative effort between the employees of Pitt Community College and the citizens of Pitt County. The proceeds of this distinguished event will be utilized to award our annual Multicultural Activities Committee Scholarship. Through the true spirit of multiculturalism, this scholarship has provided past recipients with financial assistance to continue their pursuit to achieve their educational goals. PCC is very proud of its students, and as the highlight of this morning's event, we will recognize two of them. Education was one of Dr. King's greatest values. So it is with great respect that Pitt Community College honor that value by giving back in a way that holds us and as an institution accountable to our students and do as our mission promises, which is to educate and empower people for success. It is our hope that PCC will continue to build bonds within the Pitt County community. This hope lies in our ability to aid in the multicultural competency, and increased awareness of equality, diversity, and inclusion of those who have a genuine passion for the improving quality of life for the citizens of this county. Thank you.
I'm back, and I'm excited again because for the first time in the history of the Martin Luther King Tribute Breakfast, I have the honor of inviting to bring us presidential greetings Dr. Lawrence Rouse, who is our brand new president of Pitt Community College. So let's greet him with a hand.
Certainly, it is a delight to be before you this morning, to welcome you on behalf of the faculty, the staff, the students, our Board of Trustees, and our Foundation Board to the 7th Annual Martin Luther King Breakfast. As I was sitting here and listening to Ms. Garcia, I said, what can I add to that? Because she is such a dynamic spoken word artist. So certainly, let's thank you for those words of welcome. I'd like to say thank all of you for being here this morning for breakfast. We have a full room here this morning, which shows me the dedication that you have towards social justice and equality as we recognize Dr. Martin Luther King this morning. I also thought about Dr. Martin Luther King's vision for social justice and economic equality. And I've often heard the phrase that without the vision, people perish. But I also think about it from another standpoint, without the people, the vision perish. And I'm delighted this morning that there are people here who are intent on seeing that vision to continue. And every year that we celebrate, we continue to celebrate the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King. But I'd like to say welcome on behalf of Pitt Community College and all that we do here, and if we can be of any service to you, please call upon us. And again, welcome.
there are others here who really want to greet you, and I really want them to greet you. We're very honored today to have the mayor of Winterville, Mayor Douglas Jackson, and our Greenville Mayor, P.J. Connolly, here to bring greetings. Before they come, though, if I could ask if all elected officials in the room would stand and wave your hands and let us see who you are. We're excited to have you here today to celebrate the dream with us. But right now we will have Winterville Mayor Douglas Jackson to come and give us some words. And would you like for me to come down to you? Mayor Jackson, let's greet him with a hand. So glad.
Testing. It is truly exciting to even get an invitation to this special event. And I don't know if you realize it or not, but Pitt Community College is in the city limits of Winterville. As one of the oldest people here, probably, I can remember when all of this was farmland. Tobacco was growing out here, and now look at it. But it is, my wife says, he can talk for 2 hours, and I'm prepared to, but I'm not going to. But it is a special occasion, and we welcome you to the town of Winterville. I was just telling the mayor over here, in 1950, the population of Winterville was 800. Now it's better than 10,000, and it's still growing. It's not the little town I grew up in, but I'm happy that I'm still living here. And again, we welcome you to Winterville. We got a couple of barbecue places here that we were talking about a while ago, and so to come out and enjoy. With that being said, I'll turn it over to Mayor Cunningham.
Good morning, everyone. Miss White, I'm sorry. Usually I'm the one that has to follow the great speaker, Miss Garcia, so I'm sorry you were the recipient this time. It's an honor to be here today. On behalf of the City of Greenville, I want to welcome you and thank you for coming to this community breakfast. Today, we not only honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, one of America's greatest civil rights leaders, but we also recognize leaders of tomorrow with the annual scholarship presentation in honor of Dr. Andrew Best. This has truly become a special event for not just Pitt Community College, but our whole community. As the mayor of Greenville, it's an honor and privilege to be here today. As I look around the room, it warms my heart to see how we have all come together despite our different backgrounds, our appearances, and beliefs. When Dr. King promoted unity and equality, I believe it was this type of setting that he envisioned, a place where all people were respected and appreciated. We're here, and we are all familiar with Dr. King's, how he fought for equality and freedom for all, but we sometimes forget that he was also an advocate for those who did not have a voice. King once said that life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And I can tell you, I stand before you today and I always think about that question, not only as my role as the mayor, but in my private life as well. We've got to make sure that we always understand that we have the responsibility to help one another. If we do this on a daily basis, then and only then we will build a stronger community. If we do that, we're living the life that Dr. King had promoted, and we're truly a community. I hate to say this, but at the end of this, after I get done speaking, I have to leave, but one of the nice things I get to do is I'm going up to Chapel Hill, and I get to go up there and talk about Greenville and our community and all the great things that we're doing here. And it's an honor for me to be able to go out there and spread the message. And I'm supposed to be there at 11 o'clock, but I'll be very happy to stroll in there a little bit late and be able to say the reason that I was late was because I was here honoring Dr. Martin Luther King, who was a pioneer, not just for our community, but for the entire world. So again, on behalf of the City of Greenville, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to be here. I'm thankful that Mayor Jackson allowed me to come to his community today and give him a welcome. But you know, when it comes down to it, we're not Greenville, we're not Winterville. We're all one. We're all Eastern North Carolina, and we're going to have to work together if we want to continue to see our communities prosper. So thank you.
I'm Jasmine Spade. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Student Development Services. It is with great honor and privilege to present the 2019 MAC Student Scholarships. This morning we will recognize a distinguished name of whom the scholarship will be given. 6 years ago, the Multicultural Activities Committee made the decision to develop a student scholarship. The funding for this scholarship began with the first MLK breakfast and continues with your participation today. When we started talking about the criteria for the scholarship, we wanted it to be awarded to someone with a unique perspective about the importance of multiculturalism. Through the scholarship review process, we have come to the conclusion that there were so many varied perspectives of acceptance and the need for greater understanding of others. Dr. Martin Luther King once gave a sermon on humility and gratitude when he said, "We never get anywhere in this world without the force of history and individual persons in the background helping us get there." This statement summarizes the vision and mission of the MAC Scholarship. This year, we decided on the committee to present this year's scholarship in memory of Dr. Andrew A. Best, a retired physician and community supporter. I would like to ask Dr. Julius Mallette, a former colleague and friend to Dr. Best, to come up and share a few thoughts about Dr. Best.
Good morning. Good morning. What a wonderful vision that I have right now. I know Dr. King to be quite proud. And absolutely Dr. Best. How many of you know of Dr. Best? How many of you were patients of Dr. Best? I'd like to say that Dr. Best was truly a Renaissance man. He was not only a physician, he was a community worker. He was a very underspoken politician. Because if it hadn't been for Dr. Best,
because that's what I've done for the past 36 years almost. And Dr. Best was certainly a part of my medical education. But when I arrived in Greenville with my father on my side, Dr. Best greeted me and he told my dad, he said, "I'll take him from here." He did exactly that. Dr. Best and my dad were both veterans of World War II. My dad was a Navy veteran and Dr. Best was in the Army. They didn't see each other during the war, but after that, I think they remained in contact because they went to, and I'll get ready, North Carolina A&T University. Oh, I didn't hear Aggie Pride. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess I'll have to say it for the both of them. Aggie Pride. But Dr. Best really helped me a lot in my career. And one of the things that I think is so important to remember about his philosophy, and his philosophy was of three things: tact, diplomacy, and tenacity. Three things. Those three things have carried Dr. Best through many a hallway that he would not have been able to go if he hadn't had those skills. How many of you have heard the story? I'm sure you heard a lot of stories about Dr. Best, but how many of you have heard the story about Dr. Best and the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan? No? It was in Look magazine, I think in 1966 maybe. The Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan for this region agreed to meet with Dr. Best. That's all three: tact, diplomacy, and tenacity. When they met, there was, as you might imagine, in the 1960s, quite a bit of tension. But Dr. Best tact. He sat down with the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan and some reporters from Look magazine. How many of you remember Look magazine? Look magazine was quite a powerful force in helping to create justice in America. You can look back through it and you'll see they worked with civil rights, women's rights, poverty issues. A lot of their content was around that. But they decided that they would interview Dr. Best and the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. Dr. Best and the Grand Dragon, I wish I could remember his name because I don't want him to be marked with that. They sat down and talked for maybe 2 hours. It was phenomenal. The interview, when you look in the archives of Look magazine, you'll find it. But with Dr. Best's ability to reach others, he was able to have a real dialogue with the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. And when they finished their discussion, Dr. Best asked this gentleman the question, "Why would you hate me?" And there was no answer. And they realized that they had more in common than they had that was different. Dr. Best reached across the table, shook the hand of that gentleman, and he reached across the table and shook his hand. When I heard that story, I couldn't believe it. I said, wait a minute, no. He didn't have dialogue in the 60s with the Grand Dragon, but they did. And they reached the moral agreement that they were both human beings. That's what Dr. Best would love to see, and I'm sure he is spiritually, that we all are human beings. It is certainly monumental that we can sit here in this place and pretty soon have breakfast. But right now we can have each other as human beings. I really thank you for inviting me to say a few words about Dr. Best. I'm very happy to have been honored to do that. I want you all to know that I'm certain the recipient of his scholarship will carry on the vision, and that vision will be something that we'll all be proud of, because we are all human beings. Thank you very much.
So with us today is William Best, one of Dr. Best's family members, and I would like to ask him to join me in this scholarship presentation. But before presenting this scholarship, I would like you to come forward to receive this plaque. And the plaque reads that on behalf of Pitt Community College and the Multicultural Activities Committee, we present the 2019 Dream Award in memory of Dr. Andrew A. Best, a champion of education and equality, January 17, 2019. Now, it is through your generosity and support that we are able to award 2 scholarships this spring semester, one for $500 and one for $250. This year's $500 max scholarship recipient is Claudia Ferrafino, a part-time student who is pursuing an associate's degree in healthcare management and medical billing and coding. Claudia moved to the United States 11 years ago from Honduras and enrolled in Pitt Community College's English as a Second Language program.
She currently works as a medical interpreter. Claudia impressed the interview committee with her ability to face challenges head on, her belief that she has found her purpose, and her desire to help others. Please give her a round of applause as I invite Claudia to the stage to share her story with you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Claudia Ferrufino, and I am a student in the Healthcare Management Technology degree and Medical Billing and Coding degree. I am original from Honduras. I moved to Greenville 11 years ago with my husband, and coming from a country with a different culture and a different language was a challenge for me. But thanks to Pitt Community College English as a Second Language program, I learned English, and I had the opportunity to meet people from other cultures, learn new things from them, and adjust quickly to the new environment and culture in the United States. Today, I am very thankful and honored to be one of the recipients of the scholarship, that Pitt Community College offers, the MAG Scholarship. Thanks to this scholarship, my dream of helping people in the healthcare field can continue. As a breast cancer survivor and thyroid cancer survivor, I know the struggles that patients have to go through when they are at the hospital or simply like being patients. This scholarship will give me the opportunity to continue my studies and learn new skills that will help me to serve patients in a better way. Once again, thank you so much for this scholarship. My educational pursuit would not be possible without generous support from scholarship sponsors like you. Thank you.
So at this moment, Claudia, Mr. Best, and Dr. Mallette will present you with your certificate for your $500 scholarship on behalf of the MAC committee. At this time, I would like to also recognize our $250 second place scholarship winner, Leanne Alligood, who is here today with her husband, Chris. Leanne is a part-time student enrolled in PCC's online health information technology program. She is married and is a stay-at-home mom with 5 children. She needed a program that would allow her to continue her education while also taking care of her family. The online HIT program fit those needs. Once she graduates, she plans to work from home. Then in the future, as the children get older, she would like to pursue a nursing degree. Please join me in congratulating Leanne Alligood. Let's have one last round of applause for our scholarship recipients.
What a wonderful part of the dream in 2019. That was so wonderful to see. I can't even articulate it, so I won't. I am going to ask, however, Mr. Michael Stephenson. I was about to make you a doctor. See how we're all getting promoted today. The dream lives. Okay. To lead us in our blessing, so that we may partake in this delicious food so graciously catered by GK in the back. You know, again, we're excited. Okay, I'm going to be quiet.
Let's all please bow our heads. Dear God, thank you for this opportunity to celebrate one of your greatest gifts to us, Dr. Martin Luther King, and the inspiration that He gives us, even to this day, to allow us to go out in the community to make a difference in ourselves, but also in those that we come in contact with. Lord, thank you for the food that we're about to receive. Be with us, Lord, as we do your work. Please be with those who are less fortunate. Amen.
Some great members of our committee will help to guide you. The table is, the serving station is in the back, and so we will release tables to go back and be served. And so thank you, fellowship with each other, and we will come back together again once we eat a little bit.
Good morning. As you might imagine, someone like Dr. Cunningham has an extensive resume. But when I saw that he actually has a notebook for his speech, I said I won't read all of the things in his resume. I know you think I'm joking. He actually has a notebook. But it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for the morning. And it's no accident, Dr. Cunningham, that I'm doing this, because for many years I have observed you, followed you around to New York, although you didn't know I was there at the time, until we ran into each other at the airport. But you've always been that role model for so many, not only the medical students, but so many folks in Eastern North Carolina and the state of North Carolina. So it is my pleasure to present to you today Dr. Paul Raymond Goldwyn Cunningham, a young man born in 1949. That was a great year. We happen to be exactly the same age. Dr. Cunningham is from Jamaica. He's a surgeon, a medical educator, and is known for pioneering as one of the few African American medical doctors. He was appointed the Dean of the Brody School of Medicine at East Carolina University in 2008. He became a tenured professor of surgery in 1989. He graduated as a medical doctor from the University of the West Indies in 1972, and further specialized in surgery at the Mount Sinai Hospital and Medical Center in Manhattan. He practiced and taught surgery for several years at the Bertie County and Pitt County Memorial Hospital. And before that, he has always strived to be excellent in everything he does. Dr. Cunningham published numerous research articles in areas such as trauma, bariatric surgery, and many other areas. But the most important thing that you need to know about such an accomplished young man like Dr. Cunningham is that he is indeed a scholar and a gentleman. Dr. Cunningham and his lovely wife, Sydney, who's here with him today, are proud parents of 4 children and 6 grandchildren. I have known Dr. Cunningham personally for many, many years, and I can attest that he is indeed, in his public, professional, and private life, a scholar and a gentleman. When I use that statement, or make that statement that he's a scholar and a gentleman, I don't do it lightly, because he wears a bow tie like no one else does. And as a surgeon, I've not gone into the OR with him, so I don't know if he wears one when he's doing his work or not. But he does indeed rock that bow tie. And he distinguishes himself in his professional life, not by his bow tie, although that is a signature of his. He distinguishes himself by excelling, something that Dr. Martin Luther King has always said, that whatever you're doing, do your very best. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Paul Raymond Goldwyn Cunningham.
Good morning, everybody. I don't think I need to wake you up because you've already been aroused by so many orators and others who are much more gifted than me in the spoken word. So I'm not going to wake you up. I think you also have had the benefit of coffee as well, I imagine. So I'd like to honor all of those elected officials in the audience. They're here with us today, and without them, I think our destiny perhaps is a little dimmer than with their support. So I just wanted to make sure we recognize them as they have already been recognized. And I'd like to thank Dr. Moore for his overwhelmingly generous introduction. My wife may have had something to do with it. I'd also like to thank you for your service to this nation, and of course for all of the support that you've given students through the many decades of your professional career. Mr. Best was here, a member of the Best family, and I think he had to leave, but I want to offer my respect to him. And of course, Dr. Julius Mallette, a prior colleague and friend who was standing on the dais here early on, providing the awards. Congratulations to the awardees, Ms. Claudia Ferrofino and Leanne Alligood. Thank you very much. In fact, give them another round of applause. The Multicultural Activities Committee Scholarship Fund is a very worthwhile and valuable cause, and I'm delighted to be here to help support that program. Now, it's a real privilege to have the chance to share some of my thoughts with you this morning, and I'll try to be more organized than usual. My wife tells me that I talk too much and that I tend to ramble, so I'm going to try and stay within the rails this morning. My stories are in three parts. The first part is to honor the past. The second part is to focus on what I perceive as our present circumstances. And the third, to begin to imagine a little bit of our futures. If you will, the future is what we create in our minds as we dream. And that concept was brought to us early on in the program about dreaming. Why is it important to dream? Let me show you how this approach is evident by reviewing my current reading list. Representing the past, I'm reading the Waterman story, Slavery and Freedom in Maritime North Carolina, by David Seselski. Mr. Seselski is a native of Carteret County. Among other insightful commentaries, he's noted to have written histories of black communities that created successful educational systems which were then ultimately lost during desegregation. Really intriguing. Representing the present, I'm reading, and you can imagine why this is so important, Thriving on Chaos, Prescriptions for a World Turned Upside Down by Tom Peters. And Tom Peters, as you know, is a widely read business management author. In anticipating the future, again by Tom Peters, I am reading The Excellence Dividend, by Word, meeting the tech tide with work that wows and jobs that last. Please note that Mr. Peters is signaling excellence, a reach for the gold, a reach for the so-called brass ring. He's not talking about just surviving, but about thriving. This is to be achieved despite what some may sense as living in a challenging and maybe even a chaotic environment. Let's go back to the past. Let's now honor the past by invoking the memories of two heroes, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and Dr. Andrew A. Best, MD. Martin Luther King famously asked us to dream, and this was in 1963. Undoubtedly, he was a gifted communicator. He was at the height of his capabilities. He was a highly educated and learned leader. This scholarly, thoughtful, and visionary man was not just making things up. His dream, his vision was based on his contemporary perceptions, his refined thoughts, and his creative imagination. He communicated the very best, most purposeful, the most practical, and the most providential thoughts that he could have imagined at the time. Over the decades, these images turned into inspiring words and have continued to ignite passion in our hearts. The principles and aspirations that he invoked have not diminished in power over time. No politics have diminished the aspirational concepts that eloquently spoke to the necessity for equity in opportunity for all citizens. With his humanity, he compelled us with these thoughts so many years ago. There is still much that we as a society can and must learn from his embedded messaging. It is clear that we are still on a journey as our beloved nation continues to grapple with all of our contemporary issues. Of course, I did not have the privilege of meeting or knowing Dr. King personally, but I knew Dr. Andrew Best. It is a special privilege to be alive and present today to help honor the memory and the life of this giant. Dr. Andrew Best, one of our own, a legend, a leader, a consummate physician, a gifted orator and poet, a humanitarian, an activist, and now revered by all of us as an icon. He was my mentor, counselor, unwavering personal supporter, and I dare say a friend. He was a true trailblazer who paved the way for me and many African Americans in the field of medicine to establish themselves in Pitt County and even beyond in this state and the nation. Let me share with you that he referred his patients to me who he thought would benefit from my surgical skills. There's no better honor for a professional such as me. His life spanned the decades from 1916 through December 7, 2005. He was a native of Lenore County. He was the 8th child of 10 siblings. He was educated in a segregated school which was condemned at one time and rescued by means of his father and members of the community. He overcame many hurdles, too many for me to even begin to elucidate today. And because of his unflagging motivation, inherent God-given talent, and the loving support of his family and community, he became a doctor. He worked tirelessly from his office at 401 Moywood Drive here in Greenville from 1954, serving citizens from across the region. Places like, I'm going to say it the right way, Bargrass, Calico, Morey, Spates Bridge, Bullhead, Buzzards Crossroads, Lewiston, Woodville, Winton, Roxabelle, Windsor, Roper, Skinnerville, Tickby, Pink Hill, and from all of over our region. Folks who are not from here, and I'm pretending I'm from here, would not know where and what I'm talking about. December 7th this year will make 14 years since Dr. Best left this earth. God bless his soul. He served this region. He was a true friend. He served this region for almost 50 years as a consummate professional statesman and leader. Without his advocacy and support, I don't think that we would have had a medical school at East Carolina University. When interviewed at the time of his retirement, he said that his first obligation was in the medical service of all people, with a special concern for the health of African Americans. He was also engaged in what he called community advancement, and his second area of emphasis was, as you may guess, education. As evidence of his personal commitment, he said, I had a program where I went into the public schools to teach about communicable diseases. We would still have the need for him to continue that work today. For those of you who have an interest, it is possible to hear his voice as he was interviewed and recorded by Dr. Ruth Moscow of the Lawpus Library in the Division of Health Sciences at ECU. Just Google it up, and you can listen to him. The first interview was recorded in October of 1998, and the series was completed on November 3rd, 1999. In this last interview, he speaks about the participation of Justice Henry Fry, the first African-American Chief Justice in North Carolina. This collaboration aided in the challenging political process that brought about the beginning of the then called East Carolina Medical School, now the Brody School of Medicine, here in Greenville. It is not ironic that Chief Justice's granddaughter is a recent graduate of our medical school here at the Brody School of Medicine. Isn't that really remarkable? Now, the present. Evidence of the present I know is here in this room. How many of you have a smartphone within reach? Raise your hands. You're guilty. Don't tell me that you've been on Twitter as I've been speaking with you. Yes, we are constantly bombarded with information. I must warn you, however, that this information is likely to be a little skewed. Have you heard the phrase, if it bleeds, it leads? This was first used by a New York Magazine journalist, Eric Pooley, in 1989. His piece was called Grins, Gore, and Videotape, The Trouble with Local TV News. This style of news is designed to capture one's consciousness and stimulate areas of our brains that inhibit sensible thought. The untrained human brain is then set into a default state of reaction devoid of thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness is the one feature that differentiates us from other animals that inhabit the world. Being thoughtful. The human animal can become distracted, however. The whole process of thought, imagination, and creativity can become hijacked. None of us are invulnerable to this. One does not need to go looking for how this can happen. We are all poised to react to the latest so-called news. A tsunami, a terrorist attack, a flood, a mass killing, a kidnapping, a devastating wildfire or flood, or whatever. If it bleeds, it leads. Style of news can arrest our minds without us even being aware. We're called Homo sapiens on purpose. We're the thinking animals. However, if we are unaware of our triggers, we're doomed to be distracted by our reactions without the benefit of thought. If we are distracted, how can we hope to ever create a bright and prosperous future for ourselves and our families? How can we imagine? How can we dream? Let us pledge to ourselves to consciously set the chaos aside, focus on the realities that we know, and then let us dream. Let us pretend that Dr. King came to Greenville and asked Dr. Best for his advice. Let us channel a conversation between the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and Dr. Andrew A. Best. I know that Dr. King would want whatever he was championing to be as relevant to the issues of the time as he could possibly imagine. Dr. Best, as a seasoned professional, leader, and longtime resident of this region, would be a true, well-informed, capable, and valuable advisor. I think that Dr. Best would express his concern that issues that are most relevant to us down east were not as clearly identified as other priorities in the news. And he would express concern that resources were not as aligned with the necessary efforts as he would advise. Dr. Best will lament that what was most prominent in the news channels were of the nature of if it bleeds, it leads. These, for the most part, have served to be just distractions from the issues that were most urgent and relevant to us. Dr. King would say, Dr. Best, I just gave a speech in Rocky Mount about a future dream. It seems to me like yesterday, even though it was November in 1962. I'm wondering if you could update me as to what is most relevant to this dream today and will help me put this vision that I was having into current perspective. Dr. Best would say, Dr. King, my pleasure. Let me tell you about what we need to do here in Eastern North Carolina. First, we must make sure that all of our children have all of the opportunity to be well educated. That way they will be most effective for making decisions that can affect themselves and their future families. After all, these are the ones who will be making Eastern North Carolina all that it can become. Now, since I'm a doctor and have observed what is clearly holding us back, literally killing us, I want to give you an update about the health of our region. There are some disease states that we need to reduce so that we can be as healthy as the rest of the state. The most healthy part of our state being Wake County. We're still behind. The conditions that are killing us are the following: asthma, chronic obstructive lung disease, coronary artery disease, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, high-risk pregnancies, sexually transmitted diseases, trauma, otherwise we call it injury, cancers of the colon, prostate, breast, and lung, and a whole area that is not easily recognized as disease. We call this area mental health disorders. Part of this last area is what is being called the opioid epidemic. It's all there in the mental health arena. And Dr. King, I just saw a report that said more than 7% of cancer cases in the United States are attributable to excess body weight. Previous studies have established an association between body fat and at least a dozen cancers, with the highest risk for liver, uterine, and esophageal cancers. And the breakfast was delicious. Dr. King, if we command all of our capabilities, time, talent, and treasure to the work of reducing or eliminating these afflictions, we will clearly contribute to what you have called your dream. And Dr. King, as we are now aware as physicians, prevention is better than cure. Dr. King to Dr. Best. Dr. Best, thank you very much. What you say makes a lot of sense. I'm sure that the folks in the region will help you by creating the agenda to make these conditions improve. If not, go away completely. I'll see you soon. Like Dr. Best, each of us can reflect on our life stories. There are lessons that we can learn, some positive and some not so good. With a clear-eyed appreciation of all of who and what influences us on our life's journey, one can imagine and create the very best future for ourselves. We have understood the past, it's all written down. We experience the present, perhaps through continuous news feeds, podcasts, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter alerts on our smartphones. And there are influences that we know are able to affect us unconsciously, to hijack our brains as we try to dream and attempt to imagine the brightest and most productive futures for ourselves and our families. Many of us have been blessed by having loving and supporting family, friends, and good colleagues from whom we have learned. We have benefited from their support, just like Dr. Best, who influenced me. Unfortunately, there are some who live in a virtual wilderness, devoid of any discernible positive influence or positive human examples. For the vitality of our country, we must come to grips with this terrible reality and courageously commit to what it must take to remedy this deficit. The foundation of our time-honored profession of medicine is grounded in a tradition of service that may be reflected in this statement: "For I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison and you did not look after me. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." So, education and opportunity are not for those who have the God-given capacity to overcome all hurdles, such as Dr. Best. Not just for people like him. It's not just for the brilliant students who've been able to enter the Brody School of Medicine, and they really are brilliant. East Carolina University, some good students there. And of course, Pitt Community College. The opportunity for thorough education must be available to as many as can be accommodated. Doctor, and early in my education, I fully accepted the inculcation of the service-oriented tenets of our profession. Sometimes I must remember them for myself. These principles, because I'm not immune to other human influences. The spirit can be willing, but the flesh is sometimes weak. Emotion and personal passion sometimes can rise in us. It is human to want to win at all costs, even though it means that someone or some group must lose. It is so very easy to revert to a selfish view of the world. Just me, just my family, just my type, just my culture. This constrained approach to life would never have given me the freedom and the satisfaction in practicing the science and art of medicine. It would have made it difficult, if not impossible, to be in the emergency room at 3 o'clock in the morning with a team of like-minded individuals trying to save the life of a person, particularly if that person was less than perfect. Particularly if that person had been seen in this dire situation by me more than one time. We call that recidivism. Moral judgment with prejudice would have prevented me from doing all that I could to walk the extra mile in service of this and the many other individuals who were a call to service. So I've come to believe and understand that there are powerful internal and external forces that influence every one of us human animals. These forces include the deepest and most desperate desire to survive. We also have the individual abilities to perceive, create opinion through thought, to imagine, and ultimately to thrive. All of these qualities are enhanced by education, much of it in formal settings such as those provided in our school systems. As relevance, Dr. Lawrence Rouse, President Rouse, the 5th president of Pitt Community College, has already emphasized and confirmed his pledge to do all that he can to support the education of the students of this college for the benefit of Eastern North Carolina and the Old North States. The matrix of unique features and talents that are endowed and instilled in each of us by the Creator is what makes us unique on earth and in our universe. Let us commit to use our human ability to dream, to imagine, and to create for its highest purpose. Thanks again for this tremendous privilege.
Dr. Cunningham, we could have found no one better for this time, in this space, in this place. We are handing out promotions today. So I am going to start the campaign. Dr. Paul Cunningham for Surgeon General. How about that? Until you are better paid, though, we would, that's what they say in church. We would like to offer you this gift. You can go around and we're making you an honorary bulldog.
Thank you.
We're excited and we look forward to hearing much more from you, and thank you so much. Let's give him another hand. Okay. So we're coming to the end of our program. I would like to acknowledge a young man back there who he lurks in the shadows, but he has been an integral part of making this program the success that it is, and that is Mr. Jasmine Spain back there. He is the chair of our MLK subcommittee. And I would actually like to ask the subcommittee to stand also at this point. I asked the MAC committee to stand earlier, but the MLK subcommittee, it takes a lot to pull this off, to put all the pieces together, to choose the scholarship recipients and just put it all together. And certainly without you, we could not have done it. The music, Mr. Stephenson was wonderful. So I'm just glad about the gifts that we have here at Pitt Community College. Yes, yes, right. I do want to make a special announcement or tribute to Ms. Jane Powell, who was not able to be here today, but she actually works with the foundation, and she makes sure that we get done what we need to get done in a timely manner. So and she works really hard to make sure the scholarship awarding goes well. And so we miss her today, but we thank her. She worked all the way up until this day. So we're glad to have her on our committee as well. So let's remember her. So now, as I prepare to leave you and hand you over to Mr. Travis Kinsey, I would like to remind the members of the MAC committee, the MLK committee, those who were participants on our program, our sponsors, to remain afterwards so we can get pictures made. God bless you. And Mr. Kinsey, let's greet him with a hand.
Good morning. We would like to thank everyone for attending the 7th annual MLK Tribute Breakfast. We also want to send a special thanks to the sponsors of this year's event, which is our Bulldog sponsors, which is Mr. Jasmine Spain and the Main Initiative, Dr. Gary Moore and wife Lavana, Reverend Romeo Garcia and wife Regina, LPW Consulting and Editing Services, and GPCAS.-NCNW. February 1st kicks off Black History Month at Pitt Community College. Our national theme is Black Migrations. On the back of your program, we'll highlight several Black History Month events that are open to students, staff, faculty, and the community. On Friday, February 27th, the Friday Film Fest down on Delta will happen from 11 to 1. On Thursday, February 7th, from 11 to 12:30, the Black Migration Showcase. This will highlight great talent that reflects the Black migration that took place in the mid-1900s. We also have the Chase Lounge Workshop Series, which focuses on mental health in the African American community on Wednesday, February 13th at 12 noon. In addition, we have the Homecoming, which is fulfilling dreams in new and old spaces, which will focus on concepts revealed in the African American migration patterns, and will particularly focus on the concepts of reverse migration. And lastly, we have the Black Composers Concert at Cornelia Christian Center on Tuesday, February 26th at 7 p.m. As this event comes to an end, I would like to leave our students with a few words of encouragement from one of Dr. King's greatest speeches, Your Life's Blueprint. This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide at this very age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a solid, a proper, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, a deep belief in your own dignity, worth, and somebodiness. Don't allow anyone to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count, always feel that you have worth, and always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and years unfold what you would do in life, what your life works will be. Once you discover it, set out to do it and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be the star. For it's not by size that you win or fail. Be the best at whatever you are. And finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Life for none of us has been a crystal stair. We must keep moving. We must keep going. If you cannot fly, run. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Thank you and enjoy your day.